Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're taking a really focused look at the top global headlines from the last 12 hours or so,
hmm
specifically Sunday, July 27, 2025.
Yeah.
Our goal, like always, is to give you a shortcut, really, to being well-informed. We want to dive past the surface and, pull out those crucial nuggets of knowledge and insight from these reports.
And what's truly striking in today's news, I think, is just the sheer spectrum of events that are shaping our world right now.
Mhm.
We're seeing everything from, these entrenched geopolitical standoffs and
So, kicking things off with geopolitical tensions. Uh, the Kremlin has been very direct, asserting that Ukraine and its Western allies have consistently, declined diplomatic solutions to the conflict.
some.
Russia's claim is that their military operations are continuing because, and this is a quote, all proposals for dialogue were rejected.
Right. And this narrative, it isn't just about, say, justifying the continued military action. It's more of a strategic maneuver, I'd argue.
How so?
Well, by repeatedly emphasizing these rejected proposals, Moscow is likely trying to lay the groundwork perhaps for future diplomatic initiatives, or maybe create divisions among Western allies,
Okay.
or even just appeal to a global audience that's, frankly, weary of conflict. It seems less about an immediate desire for genuine talks right now and more about shaping perception.
That's a really crucial distinction,
Yeah.
shaping perception. And while all that diplomatic rhetoric plays out, the physical realities of the conflict are still very much present, sometimes in, unexpected ways.
hmm
Like, for instance, these reports of falling debris from destroyed Ukrainian drones way over in Russia's Volgograd region. This debris actually disrupted railway power, and it impacted train operations.
Well, this incident in Volgograd, which is, far from the active front lines, it isn't just some minor disruption.
Right.
It's actually a stark indicator of Ukraine's evolving drone capabilities and Russia's persistent vulnerability when it comes to securing its own critical internal infrastructure.
Hmm.
It forces a kind of reevaluation of how far the battlefield now extends, suggesting maybe a new phase of pressure on Russian logistics and domestic stability, too.
That makes sense. So from that diplomatic and military chessboard, let's pivot a bit to the global marketplace. We've got two major economic storylines unfolding almost simultaneously. It's quite a fascinating look at global trade strategy.
Okay.
First up, we have European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen and President Trump. They are set to meet today, Sunday, to finalize a trade framework. And the key detail really is that it's likely to involve a 15% tariff on EU goods. But interestingly, it's aimed specifically at avoiding a broader trade war.
Yeah, a 15% tariff on EU goods is, well, it's a significant leverage point, isn't it?
Definitely.
And while the stated goal might be avoiding a trade war, the immediate implication is a recalibration of economic terms between two massive trading blocs.
Yeah.
This could easily shift supply chains, it could impact consumer prices, and even influence investment decisions globally, as businesses reevaluate where to produce and where to source their goods from.
And get this, as that meeting is taking place, almost at the same time, we're seeing reports that a U.S. business delegation is traveling to China.
Ah, right.
The aim there,
Yeah.
strengthening economic ties, even amid all this rising bilateral trade friction that we hear so much about.
So if we connect those dots, it really paints a picture of a, let's say, multi-pronged U.S. trade strategy.
Yeah.
With the EU, it looks like it's about resetting terms, maybe from a position of strength, trying to prevent a more hostile tariff escalation.
But with China, the focus seems to be more on maintaining economic engagement, keeping dialogue going despite the friction. Perhaps it's about managing competition rather than overtly confronting it.
It's interesting.
So yeah, it's less about one consistent approach and more about tailored strategies for different key partners.
That differentiated approach certainly highlights the complexity, doesn't it, of modern global economics. And speaking of significant shifts, France has announced it will officially recognize the state of Palestine.
Yes, sort
They're
of.
reaffirming its commitment to, quote, a just and lasting peace in the Middle East, and joining some other European nations in making similar diplomatic moves recently.
Yeah, and recognition by a major European power like France, that carries significant diplomatic weight. It's not just symbolic.
Right.
Its potential ripple effects could include encouraging other European nations, maybe even North American ones, to reconsider their stance. It definitely bolsters Palestine's standing in international forums, like the
Yeah.
UN.
And it could potentially increase diplomatic pressure on Israel regarding, peace negotiations. So it's a symbolic move, yes, but with very real diplomatic consequences.
Okay, let's shift our focus now to some ongoing regional conflicts and humanitarian crises.
Yeah.
First, Israel has announced a humanitarian pause in Gaza.
Yes.
Operations are set to halt from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. daily, but only in specific parts of Gaza City, Deir al-Balah, and al-Mawasi included, to allow aid corridors to open. This comes amid really soaring hunger concerns.
And look, while pauses like these are absolutely critical, the challenges in actually ensuring aid reaches those in desperate need are just immense.
You mean the logistics?
Exactly. The fragmented nature of the conflict zones, getting security guarantees for the aid workers themselves, and just the sheer logistical hurdles of distributing supplies to hundreds of thousands of people.
In that short window.
In that short daily window, yeah. It means that even with the best intentions, the impact can unfortunately be limited. It's a constant race against time and just overwhelming need.
It's a grim reality. And shifting continents, we're seeing persistent conflict on the Thai-Cambodian border. Despite U.S. President Trump's call for a ceasefire, artillery fire is continuing across that contested border area. The human cost is already significant. Deaths are over 30, and more than 200,000 people have been displaced after just 4 days of fighting.
Yeah, and the persistence of this fighting, even with international appeals, it really reveals how deeply entrenched some of these regional disputes can be.
Right.
In cases like this, you often find that local historical grievances and complex internal political dynamics tend to override external diplomatic pressure.
So the calls from outside don't always land.
Exactly. It highlights the limits of outside influence when the parties actually on the ground feel their core interests or, their territorial claims are fundamentally at stake. It makes ceasefires incredibly difficult to enforce without some kind of more fundamental shift in relations between them.
Okay, turning now towards global connections and maybe some unforeseen events. Russia is set to resume direct passenger flights to North Korea's capital, Pyongyang.
Right. First time since the mid-90s.
Exactly, for the first time since the mid-1990s. This certainly seems to signal closer ties following these wider geopolitical shifts we've been seeing.
Yeah, this resumption of flights, it's not just about travel, is it? It's really a tangible symbol of a tightening strategic alignment between Russia and North Korea. It suggests a potential increase in, resource exchange, perhaps military or technological cooperation even. And it's a mutual signaling, you could say, of defiance against Western sanctions.
So strengthening partnership.
It definitely solidifies a growing partnership, one that could have real implications for regional stability in East Asia and maybe even the broader global balance of power.
Meanwhile, on a very different kind of note, heavy rains have caused severe flooding near Beijing and across North and Northeast China.
Yes, seeing reports on that too.
Tragically, 2 people have died already, and thousands have been forced to relocate. Authorities are warning of worsening flood and landslide risks as well.
In this situation, it just powerfully highlights the escalating impact of natural disasters, especially on densely populated areas.
Yeah.
It really underscores the challenges of preparedness, of infrastructure resilience, especially when facing these extreme weather events, which seem to be becoming more frequent and more intense.
Right.
It's not just about the immediate tragedy, sadly, but also the long-term strain on resources and the potential for, large-scale displacement in these highly urbanized regions.
A major challenge. Finally, we have a truly surprising and insightful piece of news for the world of aviation.
Oh.
The investigation into a Jeju air crash has revealed something quite unexpected. Investigators say the pilots actually shut down the less damaged engine after a bird strike.
The less damaged one.
Yes, even though the other engine, the more damaged one, apparently remained operable, at least to some extent. This obviously raises some profound questions about cockpit decisions under extreme duress.
Wow. That particular detail about the Jeju Air incident is, it's fascinating because it points directly to the intricate human factors involved in emergency situations. It really highlights the potential for, cognitive biases, things like a startle effect or maybe confirmation bias to impact decision-making, even among highly trained pilots when they're under extreme time pressure.
Thanks, you think?
It really does. It prompts a deeper look into how simulator training can perhaps replicate the kind of psychological stress that leads to these, counterintuitive choices when literally every second counts.
Absolutely fascinating and sobering. Well, we've covered a remarkable amount of ground in this deep dive
Oh,
today.
we certainly have.
We've explored everything from those high-stakes diplomatic negotiations and shifting alliances to the immediate aftermath of natural disasters and even these surprising complexities of human decision-making in aviation.
Hmm.
The aim, as we said at the start, was to give you a concise yet hopefully comprehensive understanding of today's top global stories and maybe connect a few dots along the way.
And if we do connect this to the bigger picture, I think it's just so clear that global events are profoundly interconnected, even when they seem completely disparate on the surface.
Yeah.
That interplay between, say, geopolitical narratives, economic strategy, humanitarian crises, and even individual human decisions, it's constant. It weaves this complex and often quite unpredictable tapestry of cause and effect.
It truly is unpredictable sometimes. Which brings us to a final thought for you, the listener, to consider. Given this whole array of complex situations we've just explored, from shifting alliances and trade tensions to humanitarian crises and these difficult human decisions under pressure, what underlying forces do you believe are the most significant in shaping our world right now? What questions do these headlines provoke in your mind about where we're heading?